A study just published in the Journal of Neuroscience found that one specific hobby physically densifies your brain tissue in exactly the regions that protect you from age-related decline. The same structural changes seen in professional musicians, in elite athletes, in people who have spent decades doing the most cognitively demanding work on Earth. The hobby? Standing outside, looking at birds. I know, stay with me, because the science behind this is genuinely surprising. And by the end of this video, I think you will want to send it to someone you love.
Researchers at Baycrest Hospital in Toronto, one of the world's leading centers for cognitive neuroscience and aging, did something quite simple. They took 29 expert birdwatchers, people who had spent years identifying birds by sight and sound, and they matched them against 29 complete beginners. Same age range, same sex distribution. The only real difference between them was how long they had spent watching birds. Then they put both groups in an MRI scanner. Not just a regular brain scan, a technique called diffusion MRI, which measures how dense and structurally complex the brain tissue actually is at a cellular level. And what they found was this. The expert birdwatchers had measurably denser brain tissue in 3 specific regions, the areas that govern attention, perception, and working memory.
Not just slightly denser, structurally different, more compact, more efficient, the kind of brain architecture that, in other people, takes years of serious musical training or elite athletic performance to develop. And here is the part that made me put my phone down when I read it. These structural advantages did not disappear with age. The older expert birdwatchers still had them, still maintaining that cognitive edge well into their 70s.
Now, the researchers were careful to point out that this doesn't prove birdwatching prevents cognitive decline. This study is observational, not a controlled experiment. People with naturally sharper attention might just be drawn to birdwatching in the first place. But Professor Martin Slawinski, the director of the Center for Healthy Aging at Penn State, who was not involved in the study, offered an explanation that I think points directly at the mechanism. He said, birdwatching places sustained demands on your perception, attention, and memory, so you can never fully run on autopilot. You can never run on autopilot. That sentence is the entire key to why this works.
Think about the last time you went for a walk somewhere familiar. Chances are you don't actually remember much of it. You probably arrived at the end and couldn't tell me what you walked past. Your body moved through space, but your mind was somewhere else entirely. That is your brain running on autopilot, and it does this constantly. It is extremely good at it. Anytime a task becomes routine, the drive home you've done 100 times, the walk through your neighborhood, the podcast you're half listening to, your brain drops into a low-energy default mode. This is efficient, but it is not what builds cognitive reserve. Now, try watching for birds. Suddenly, you cannot zone out. You are scanning a tree for movement. You hear a sound and you are trying to place it. Is that a wren, a warbler, something you haven't heard before? Your attention has to be present, sustained, ready. Because the bird is not going to wait for you. And here is what makes this biologically significant. The 3 brain regions that lit up in expert birdwatchers, attention, perception, working memory, are exactly the regions that deteriorate most predictably as we age. They are also the regions most strongly associated with your risk of cognitive decline later in life. What the study is suggesting, carefully, because science is always careful, is that a lifetime of sustained active attention might build a kind of structural cushion in those regions, a buffer against the natural thinning that comes with age. The brain responds to challenge. It always has. We knew this from musicians and chess grandmasters and surgeons. We just didn't know it worked for people who stand in their garden watching for a goldfinch. But it does. And the reason it does is the autopilot thing. Most hobbies let your brain coast. Birdwatching does not. And that distinction, passive versus active attention, is what separates a pleasant pastime from a cognitive workout.
The brain density study was published in 2026, but the mood research has been building for years. A team from King's College London tracked more than 1,200 people across 5 countries, the UK, Europe, the US, China, and Australia, using a smartphone app called Urban Mind. For 2 weeks, the app would ping them at random moments and ask, "How are you feeling right now?" And what they found is that when people saw or heard birds, any birds, anywhere, their mood scores went up. reliably, consistently, across all 5 countries, across all demographics, including people who had already been diagnosed with depression. Even for them, just seeing a bird or hearing one produced a measurable uplift.
And the effect didn't just last for the moment of the encounter. The next time the app pinged them, even if they hadn't seen a bird since, their well-being scores were still elevated. Something about encountering a bird was carrying forward in time. A separate study from the Max Planck Institute in Berlin wanted to understand why. So they ran a controlled experiment. 295 people, headphones, 6 minutes. Some people listened to 6 minutes of birdsong. Others listened to 6 minutes of traffic noise. The birdsong group, measurably lower anxiety, measurably lower paranoia. The traffic noise group, measurably higher depression. 6 minutes, through headphones. No actual birds present. The researchers believe this happens because birdsong is, evolutionarily, a signal of safety. When birds are calling, when they are relaxed and vocal, it means the environment is stable. No predators nearby, no immediate threat. Your nervous system, which is ancient and does not fully understand the 21st century, hears that and exhales. Traffic noise does the opposite. Your nervous system hears it as unpredictable, uncontrollable threat, and it responds accordingly. We are not as far from our origins as we like to think.
There is a study, and I want you to hear this carefully because it sounds made up, published in the journal Ecological Economics. Researchers from the Senckenberg Institute analyzed data from the European Quality of Life Survey, more than 26,000 adults, 26 European countries. They wanted to know whether the biodiversity of your local environment, specifically the number of different bird species you could encounter day to day, was connected to how satisfied people felt with their lives. And what they found was this.
Living near 14 more bird species, 14, gave people the same increase in life satisfaction as earning an extra 124 euros a month. Birds are worth money in the happiness equation. And it works every single month for free. The researchers put it simply, biological diversity is as important for human well-being as financial security. Not almost as important, as important. I find this simultaneously wonderful and slightly alarming, because it means we have been building cities and cutting down trees and shrinking bird populations for decades, and we have been paying a happiness cost that we never put on any balance sheet.
There is something bigger happening underneath all of this, something that makes the birdwatching research more urgent than it might first appear. In 2023, the United States Surgeon General issued an advisory, an 81-page document calling loneliness a public health epidemic. The finding that got the most attention was this one. The mortality risk of chronic loneliness is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes every single day, just from being isolated. Social isolation in older adults raises the risk of developing dementia by approximately 50%. 50%! And the loneliness epidemic was already spreading before COVID made it significantly worse.
I am telling you this because birdwatching, and I genuinely did not expect this when I started reading about it, quietly addresses multiple dimensions of this problem at the same time. Walking in nature reduces cognitive decline by up to 40% in some studies. Being in nature, any nature, for at least 120 minutes a week is associated with a 59% higher likelihood of reporting good health. That finding came from a study of nearly 20,000 people across England, published in scientific reports, and it applies equally at age 30 and at age 70. But group birdwatching adds something that solo walks don't. It gives you a shared language, a reason to get up before dawn, other people who understand why you just drove 40 minutes to see a bird that probably won't even be there. That sounds small, but for an older adult who lives alone, a weekly bird walk is structure, outdoor movement, cognitive engagement, and genuine social connection, all in one go, all for the cost of a bus fare or a tank of petrol. There is not a drug on earth that does all of that simultaneously.
There is one more piece to this that I think matters more than almost anything else I have told you. Researchers tracking the mental health benefits of bird encounters found something unexpected in the data. Not all bird watching is equal. People who paused, to actually feel something when they encountered a bird who let themselves experience a moment of joy or wonder or delight got roughly double the mental health benefit of people who were just ticking species off a list. Double. Same birds, same environment, completely different psychological outcome depending entirely on whether the person allowed themselves to be moved by what they saw. This is what psychologists call savoring, and it turns out it is a skill, one that most of us, especially those of us who spend our days optimizing and tracking and measuring, are deeply out of practice at. We have turned everything into a checklist. Fitness tracked, meals logged, sleep scored. We experience life through metrics rather than through the texture of the experience itself. And the bird research is suggesting, gently but clearly, that this approach costs us something real. The person who sees a kingfisher and actually stops and notices the iridescent blue of it and feels something about the fact that they were in the right place at the right moment, that person gets immeasurably larger neurological and emotional benefit than the person who sees the same kingfisher, marks it off their eBird app, and moves on. Which brings me back to the original question. Why does birdwatching work? Not just because it forces your attention to be present, but because, if you let it, it teaches you how to be present, how to notice, how to feel something small and treat it as enough. That is not a trivial skill. In a world that is constantly trying to convince you that nothing is ever quite enough, learning to find genuine satisfaction in 14 bird species outside your window might be one of the most quietly radical things you can do. So here is the prescription, and I mean that almost literally. A study of nearly 20,000 people found that spending at least 120 minutes a week in nature was associated with a 59% higher likelihood of reporting good health and high well-being. Not 120 minutes in one go, just 120 minutes, however you get there. A 20-minute walk each day, one longer outing at the weekend. It doesn't matter how you split it. You don't need a forest. You don't need binoculars. You don't need a list. A feeder outside your window counts. A park with pigeons counts. Sitting in a garden and actually listening counts. The only rule is this. When a bird appears, pause. Don't reach for your phone. Don't name it and move on. Just look at it for a moment and let yourself notice that it exists and that it is doing something completely indifferent to your schedule. That's it. That's the whole thing. If you have parents who are getting older, send them this. If you have someone in your life who is lonely, or worried about their memory, or who has been told they should get outside more, but has never been given a reason that actually makes sense to them, send them this. Because 14 birds outside your window is worth more than most of us realize. And nobody needs a prescription for it.